The Serenity Prayer, a philosophical reflection. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This prayer has been repeated so many times that it risks sounding like a cliché. Yet when its words are taken seriously, they point to something far deeper than ordinary calm or ordinary courage. They point towards special serenity, special courage, and special wisdom. The choice of words matters, and so does the order. To see this, one must slow down and let each phrase open its weight. 1. On grant. The prayer begins with God grant me. The word grant is significant. It does not mean give casually, nor lend, nor impose. To grant is to bestow something for a purpose, like a grant for study or research. Such a grant must be used rightly, according to the purpose for which it was given. Misuse wastes or even violates the grant. In the prayer, serenity, courage, and wisdom are requested as grants. They are not possessions to hoard. They are resources entrusted for a task. Serenity is granted for acceptance. Courage is granted for change. Wisdom is granted for discernment. Each is tied to function. Each carries responsibility. This word sets the tone. These qualities are not demanded, not manufactured, but received as gifts oriented to purpose. 2. What cannot be changed. Often the phrase is trivialized with simple examples: the sun, the weather, other people. While these are true, they are shallow. The deeper meaning points toward the unchangeable structures of existence. The body cannot always be changed. Illness, infection, pain, these do not yield to willpower. A spinal infection in a hospital bed cannot be wished away. Healing takes time, and limitations remain. The past cannot be changed. To say this is obvious. To accept that the past lives on in the present, shaping identity, is more difficult. The scars of the past cannot be erased, though they can be carried differently. The deeper structures of temperament cannot be fully changed. Not all aspects of character are malleable. Some tendencies endure. Acceptance here means recognizing finitude. Mortality cannot be changed. Death awaits, and the deaths of loved ones cannot be reversed. Serenity in the face of mortality is among the hardest forms of acceptance. Thus, the prayer confronts the unchangeables of embodiment, past, character, and death. These are not superficial. They demand a serenity that is more than relaxation, a serenity forged in the face of what resists all alteration. 3. Special serenity. This is why the serenity requested is not ordinary. It is not the peace of a restful evening. It is not the calm that follows exercise. It is serenity in the face of pain, loss, and finality. Special serenity is the strength to look at the immovable and still find peace. It is reconciliation without denial, calm without indifference. It is a gift because it cannot be manufactured. It comes quietly, often after struggle, sometimes in exhaustion, sometimes as grace. Mystical traditions name something like it: Eckhart's Gelassenheit, the Buddha's equanimity. The prayer asks for this serenity, not as luxury, but as survival. Without it, resentment corrodes. With it, even what cannot be changed can be endured. 4. Courage to change the things that can be changed. Here, too, the courage is special. It does not refer to trivial changes like altering clothes or shifting objects. It refers to deep changes that frighten and unsettle. The courage to break an addiction, the courage to leave a destructive bond, the courage to speak truth, to forgive, to endure treatment, to reshape a life's path. These require more than capacity. They require resolve in the face of fear. Change threatens comfort. It risks failure. It brings conflict. Courage is what turns possibility into reality. The prayer asks for this kind of courage, the courage to bear the cost of real transformation. 5. Wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom is the hinge. Without it, serenity may be wasted on what could have been changed. Without it, courage may be wasted against the immovable. The line is not obvious. Self-deception is common. Fear disguises what could be changed as immovable. Pride disguises what cannot be changed as still within control. Wisdom discerns the true line. This wisdom is not theoretical. It is lived discernment. It requires humility, counsel, patience. It is dynamic because the boundary shifts. What cannot be changed today may be changeable tomorrow. What once seemed possible may later prove impossible. Wisdom is the art of seeing clearly in the flux. 6. The three together. The three requests form a triad. Serenity alone can become resignation. Courage alone can become frenzy. Wisdom alone can become abstraction. Together they balance. They also echo great traditions. Stoic serenity before necessity, Aristotelian courage in action, Platonic wisdom as discernment. The prayer compresses them into a single rhythm. 7. Application to the self. In illness, the prayer becomes concrete. What cannot be changed? The infection already present, the time required, the pain. What can be changed? The attitude toward healing, the willingness to endure, the openness to treatment. Wisdom, to discern what belongs to acceptance, what belongs to action. In this way, the prayer becomes flesh. Serenity is strength to live with limitation. Courage is refusal to surrender. Wisdom is clarity hour by hour. 8. Application to others. Other people are often spoken of as unchangeable, and this is true. No one can force another to transform. Each is a freedom, a mystery. Serenity means accepting this. Yet one can change one's own relation, to forgive, to draw boundaries, to speak honestly. Here courage has its work. Wisdom discerns when to accept and when to act. 9. Application to the world. The world contains injustice, disaster, suffering. What cannot be changed? The presence of tragedy in history. What can be changed? The injustices within reach. Serenity allows endurance without despair. Courage resists complicity. Wisdom guides which battles are possible and which sorrows must be borne. 10. The grant revisited. Serenity, courage, wisdom are not possessions. They are grants. Each is tied to purpose. Serenity is granted for acceptance, courage for change, wisdom for discernment. If misapplied, the grant is wasted. Serenity applied to what could change becomes complicity. Courage applied to the unchangeable becomes futility. Wisdom left unused becomes arrogance. To pray is to request not only the gift, but the responsibility of using it rightly. 11. Final reflection. The Serenity Prayer is not a slogan. It is a map of existence. It names the tension of freedom and fate, change and necessity. It calls not for ordinary serenity, courage, and wisdom, but for their special forms. To live by it is to be awake, to accept without despair, to act without frenzy, to discern without arrogance. It is to face finitude honestly and freedom responsibly. This is why the prayer endures. It is not an escape. It is orientation. It is not banality. It is radical clarity. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.